Hello, this is Neil, the art instructor at masterpaintingnow.com. The link's in the description. I have over 300 tutorials for you to watch. You can also just go to my YouTube channel by clicking on my nickname, and then you can browse my videos. And also you can search, so use the search feature and type in a certain keyword and see if I have a tutorial on it. The chances are I do. For example, type in hands and you'll probably find some hand tutorials. Right, so let's get started here. What is style exactly? I think this is important, is kind of understanding what is style. What makes style? So style is an interpretation of reality, right? And style is in many different forms. Cartoons are style. How do you develop your own style? Comics is one type of style. And there's different types of styles within comics, for example. So it comes down to this. It comes down to simplification. Simplification is taking the idea of an eye, for example. We have more of a, let's say, of a realistic eye, and you render it out and you draw it all for where it looks realistic. Now to take that same eye and you want to reinterpret it with style, it's to either simplify or to exaggerate or to flat out distort. These three things, how much you simplify, how much you exaggerate, how much you distort, what you exaggerate, what you choose to simplify, and so forth, will make style. So if we choose to simplify the line work itself, or that's one way to simplify. And so you choose to simplify the line work itself, and everything becomes very simple. I'm just going to do this very quickly. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to just kind of like this. But it still has this kind of overall, complicated look to it. And the way you shade is also part of style. Say you choose to scribble it. That's one. It could be one style. You choose to use lines. That's or cross shade. Cross hatch is another kind of style. And so this is one thing. Is the simplification, right? You color that in with a solid color. And that's one way to simplify. Another way to simplify is make it even more simple. So you just go, okay, I'm going to really oversimplify the eye, and I'm just gonna have, a line above it, and that's it. That's all the eye is. Or sometimes you'll see in cartoons, and the eye is very simplified, and or you just see like, hey, they have a pupil and they have an eyebrow. So how much you choose to simplify it is one way to have style. The other thing is also exaggeration or distortion. So, some cartoons might really exaggerate the eye, and some styles might really exaggerate the eye. And, they exaggerate like this, for example, let's say. And now the eye looks more like this, but let's say they still have kind of a realistic rendering to it. So they haven't really simplified, they still render it out to be very realistic, but it's just exaggerated and distorted a little bit. Then suddenly now you have a very different kind of style. If you take that exact same thing, that kind of exaggerated look, but you render it more like a cartoon, that is, you render it with a simplification, then you have a different style. So how you render something, how you draw the lines, right? You can draw the lines more simple. You can draw them more complex. So for example, you can take this here and go, okay, just kind of reduce it. You get your ink pen out and you zoom in, and you can, so many different ways you can choose to render this with how you do the line work. You can have lines that come together more and kind of, you double up your lines a lot. That's, one thing you can do to have style. You have thickness on one side of the line but not on the other. Kind of leave gaps if for example, is another thing you do. And so how you choose to render this out can also make a big difference. So think about how you can distort something, how you could exaggerate, and so forth. This also can come down to how you draw poses. A pose itself can be exaggerated, distorted. Limbs could be exaggerated, distorted. They can be simplified. So think about how you can simplify the line work. You can simplify the rendering. That is how you decide to color it or shade it. You can do more of a cartoon style. You can, with maybe no shading at all. Add really very basic shading like a manga, and maybe a couple highlights. You can go with a more realistic rendering. You can draw a really crazy looking cartoon character, but render it out to be realistic, and that's one style. You can also render it out to be more cartoon or comic, and it suddenly changes the style. So let's say you're going to be drawing an idea for a pose, and I want to push this S curve. I want the hips to come out further. So let's go ahead and kind of just render this out very quickly here. keeping that center line concept there. I could render this out much faster if I wanted to. So I'm gonna have opposite curves here for the hips and shoulder. Oops. Now how I choose to develop this body is going to really show style. So, the pose is one thing. So it's going to get that down first. I want the weight to be on this leg here, but this is going to be the dominant leg as far as what you're seeing. And you're going to see if you watch my, I do a similar pose. Remember there's this angle here where the calf muscles are in the top, and that all comes down knowing the muscles. And I've been working hard on the anatomy course. I'm sorry for those that have been waiting forever for it. That goes into great detail about muscles and all that. But if you just stay patient, it's going to be done soon enough. So, and I want this leg to be more behind. Oops. And so this side's going to be more scrunched up. Anyway, so just with the human figure, there's so many different things you can do with style. For example, this right here is one style. You can kind of see the style within just the sketch. You can see I have very tiny neck, for example. I have very high breast, thin waist. It's just more of like a manga style, right? You have these longer legs. And so this here is one style. It's what I choose to exaggerate, what I choose to not exaggerate. That all can add to style. Like for example, what if I decide I want to give my characters these big shoulders and these big arms here? That in itself is style. That gives a certain feel to it. It's those things that you choose to exaggerate and not, or to simplify or not simplify, or to distort or not distort. You can like get really crazy with this character and go, okay, watch this. Let's get really crazy with it. Let's go ahead and erase a lot of this here. What if you decided that you wanted to really get down thin with the legs here, and then get back thick again, and get down really thin again? That changes the style of the figure suddenly. You can draw an arm, and you go, okay, I want really big shoulders, and really, really huge deltoids, and then this like really thin bicep and tricep, and then really big, forearms. And suddenly you have an entire different style of character there. And you can even go more distorted with it, where you can really get, this is the pec coming off here. You can like have this be the bicep right there, and that be the tricep back there. And so it's so thin, and then it gets very thick again. And that is one style, or that's how you can start developing styles. So how you develop your own style is you start drawing a lot of different styles, comic and this sort of thing. Then you start thinking about things that you like to exaggerate. What's fun to you to exaggerate? What looks cool to you? And that's how you start developing your own style. And so I'm showing here with just figures how you can start to develop your own style. You can be like, you take that same kind of figure and go, hey, I like my heads huge. I like to draw these big heads and very, very tiny necks. And I kind of want, let's say it's not working right. It's hard sometimes to draw far away like this. I want the little breast, I want these high kind of shoulders, not too small, not too big. I kind of want to come down, show my figure here. And then let's say here, you want, I don't know, just trying to think on the fly here. You want these thin arms like this, and then you want to kind of come up, and actually you want long, you want bigger shoulders, you want your longer, and then you want not too big of arms down here, and maybe you want kind of normal bigger hands. this is, the big head. They're gonna have, so she's gonna have big eyes. Let's say you kind of want to have this really kind of short look to your characters where, it's all kind of brought up here. And maybe thicker legs. You might be able to see a little bit of this side, because you're seeing the side view here a little bit, and I might want to translate that into showing a little bit of that side buttock there. You decide you want to have these like really thin knees, and then kind of normal calves, but it's all really short character, let's say. That can be your own style of character, and you can turn it to different things. Sorry about that background noise, it's my phone. But the style choices don't stop there. They don't just stop with choosing what to, like overall shapes here. This is, I'm going to choose, bigger, little this, bigger that. So I'm choosing exaggerate certain, my phone just fell down. Exaggerate certain things, just, distort things, simplify things. Also comes down to how I choose to render it. So when I come down to, render, I can do like a painting of this, so it has a more painting feel to it. I can render it out to where it has more of a comic book feel to it. And then even when I'm adding my line work to it, that in itself can also be done in a certain way that it shows, style. So, I can, for example, my rendering style is, I kind of like to do, let me go, actually, you know what, to actually show this, I need to take this and make it bigger for a second so I can use my size 5 brush. I don't want this video to be too long. Let's go and erase that layer, make a new one. So size 5 brush, right? Okay. I kind of like to when I'm doing I like to be really loose with my line work, and this is something that I've kind of recently decided that I like, and make it my style, make it my own. And so what I do is when I'm working on my lines, I have some that are thinner, some that are thicker. I might come thick into thin. And one thing I like to do is kind of like sometimes double up my lines. Like I kind of do this thing right here, like that. Right, it's almost like a swoosh like that, so it kind of doubles up my line work. And sometimes I won't continue, like I won't connect my lines. I don't like them connected. I'll keep them broken. I think that looks cool. And so I do things that I find cool, like that there, and then coming. Let's go ahead and make the knee here. I like a lot of sharp angles as well, and I like a mixture of sharp and curved angles. And then I know that this muscle comes down right here, and it has this. This is higher, so I'm gonna kind of go like that. And just how you choose to, whether you do angles or not, and whether you do curves, that itself can show style. How you do the angles, how you do the curves, all that can determine the style of your line work. And let's say, I decide that I don't really like how that is, so I want it to kind of, I want this woman to have big old jugs or something for some reason. Oops, wrong eraser. Thought I had a different eraser set there. Anyway, I kind of messed that line up, but that might look a little bit better on the figure, I think, on this particular design. And maybe give her a thinner waist might look cooler. And there's all different kinds of things, like I said, you can do with style. And just when it comes to drawing the figure, you can really get crazy with it. For example, what if you just kind of want to go, okay, I like this general idea of the pose, so I'm going to just go and put that in there. But the style I want to use and be completely different. Let's say I want to go with this kind of this very basic style, and you have your hand here. And noticing I'm not even coming big with anything here. Oops. That's not my fault. That's the stupid thing. I want to show the breast kind of overlaps that shoulder going back behind us. And so now this style, I'm kind of taking a typical cartoon style and kind of reinterpreting it here. I'm going, okay, instead of just doing, like this kind of basic noodly arm, you have, I'm adding a little bit of style to it by extending it out thicker as it comes out here to a normal size hand. And I think that's kind of interesting, kind of something to play with. So, like let's say a Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is really simplified, where his arms are kind of like this, and he has his big hands coming out with his 3 fingers. Right, that's kind of Mickey Mouse. I'm kind of reinterpreting that style and getting some inspiration from it, but hey, let's not simplify it to the point where it's like sticks, but it's pretty darn close to being sticks. And the thumb's coming off like that. And same thing with the legs. So, kind of like Mickey Mouse's legs are just like sticks basically, and big feet. What if I take that and kind of try to interpret to where I kind of got that concept, but it's more sexy. Because maybe I'm trying to come up with a more sexy character. And so I'm going to start with this this really thin look here, kind of noodly look. And I'm going to come down to the this big feet look. But you can see this is more of a side view. Just kind of keeping the pose the same. That almost reminds you of Mega Man. But as you can see, just by... Come on, why is it doing that all the time on me? If anyone's actually got the answer to that yet, like you have heard back from Wacom, I know some people pronounce it Wacom, but if you've heard back from them and they've told you what the deal is and why, how to fix it, please let me know, because I'm really getting sick of it doing that to me, where it just suddenly makes a really big line for no reason. I've tried all different kinds of kind of overlap. I tried all different types of drivers and stuff, and I just don't know which one is supposed to work because they're not working so far. Right, so she'd have like some big feet, maybe some big shoes or something. And you can see how I'm reinterpreting the pose too. It's not as realistic. I'm coming out and getting really crazy with that pose. Whereas, these are more realistic with the pose. And that itself is style, is how you choose to animate your characters. So if you practice this, practice taking the idea of simplification, and minimizing and simplifying can be as far as taking an eye and making the eyeball, really simple like this. It could be taking a nose and a side view of a nose and just simply turning into that, or you can kind of make it more of a comic-y style and make it a little bit more realistic like this. So the simplifying can come down to how you render out the shapes themselves. It can also come down, full shapes, like simplifying the arm to just being something very basic like this, faster to draw. It can be turning it to more like what you see here. And then distorting it as well. So coming down, boom, big old feet, that's or exaggerating it. You can take a nose, and a nose might, come from the side view again. You might kind of really not just, so now I'm not just exaggerating it, I'm flat out distorting it. Eyes over here. This is, no one has a nose like that. And then, you have the mouth in here. Come down with the chin and so forth. So you have this crazy looking face. And that only happens if, you distort it. So you can distort things, and you can distort your characters to have all kinds of weird appendages, but they're still recognizable as a human being. And so you can take your faces and just be like, hey, I really like this kind of shape here for my face. And so I'm just going to go with it. And I'm going to give them these crazy, simplified eyes. And maybe add just a little bit of the face there. And I'm going to give them these long noses. And I don't know, more simplified mouths. And they're going to have these kind of ears that are more squared. And when I draw in their body, they're gonna be like this, and that right there is already having its own style. And I could take that idea, and I'm going to make it smaller here so I have more room, and continue it out with something of a style, and go, okay, so I want him to have these big superhero deltoids, and neck muscles back here, the trapezius, or just call them traps. Kind of have his chest muscles coming in here. He's gonna have these gigantic deltoids, and then he's gonna have small biceps, and it's to be simplified. The shapes will be simplified, and these have these kind of shapes like this. So boom, and it's gonna get big, like this, small, and then big. Regular size hands. He's gonna have these huge wing muscles coming back here. Yeah, I should probably balance out his chest, but I didn't. And then this is you can all different kinds of things you can decide here. He has his obliques, his belly button. So his obliques come in here like this. He has this really tiny abdominal area and crotch. And then his legs are just like short and simple. I know I'm doing this very quickly, but now you have your own style there. And that kind of reminds me of something like the Incredibles style. And this is how people have developed their styles. They decide to exaggerate certain things and not exaggerate certain things, and to just leave things completely off. Just hey, let's just omit that completely. So I guess that's another style choice, is to omit. I didn't really think of that, but you can just completely omit things. So take this, start practicing, look at styles out there that you like, and take different ideas from them, and then start doing your own things too, and go, what if I kind of like how if I distort this, or if I exaggerate this. I kind of like if I exaggerate the forearm muscles but not anything else, or I like this kind of rendering style. And as you start to mix and match all these different ideas of other styles, and then incorporate the concepts of simplification and like magnification, or exaggeration, of omitting, and then of just flat out distorting, you'll come up with all different kinds of cool styles. And so just practice and practice, and the more you practice, the more you'll find things that you like and that works for you and that you think look cool, and that will begin to develop your style. And you might already have started to develop a style, and you just don't know it. And when people look at it, be like, oh man, I like your style, and you're like, oh really, I have a style? So anyway, that's really the essence of style if you break it down to a formula, and that's how you can work on and develop your own style, is by doing exercises with, like, the human figure, for example, is a really good thing to do. And do what I just did here in the video, is to go, okay, I'm gonna make these shapes, I'm gonna distort these shapes a little bit, or take the core concept of the shape and just completely redo it, or take another idea you've seen before, like I did with this character here. And I was thinking about Mickey Mouse. I was thinking about tube type arms, very simple tube arms, but reinterpreting that to have still kind of the shape of the figure, but big feet and big hands, but more sexy. And I came up with this character, and I can work on that style more and develop into something cool, I think. I actually really like that. I think I could develop that into a cool style. Anyway, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Hey, if you haven't got a chance to check out my courses, and if you like my teaching style, my courses go into great detail about stuff, and I break things down in a simple to understand way. The course deal I have right now is all 7 of my courses. It's Master the Human Figure, Master the Human Head, Form, Lighting, and Perspective, Master Photoshop CS5. Just it's a massive bundle of 60 hours. 60 hours for only $39.95. It's just unbeatable. So go to my site, check it out. It's awesome. I got other courses for $5. I got courses for $19. So if you don't want to buy the big course bundle, there's other options there. I have over 300 tutorials too. So just click on my channel or go to my website, which has some of them there, but most of them are here on the YouTube channel. Again, all you have to do in here, I want to show this to everyone that doesn't know how to do this yet on YouTube, just in case. I know most people probably do, but here it is. Right, so you're at my video. This is what you do. First, go ahead and click subscribe. Why not? Because then you get updated with new tutorials that come out. You go to my name here. Once you're here, you can just click on Browse Videos, or you can already start searching. After you click on Browse Videos, you can choose to view them in different ways, like most popular, or date added to newest, oldest. You can also go here in the search channel and type in something like hands, for example. click search. Since I have so many videos, pretty much anything you type in there is going to come up with something. You can see I have different tutorials on hands, and some of them are very old and not as good as some newer ones, but there you have it. So that's how you can search my channel. So check it out. Check out my future tutorials. If you ever want to take your art to the next level, check out my courses. Thanks for watching.